Sri Sri Guru Gauranga Jayato Prananami Sada Prabhupada Padam Upodghato Sri Guru Prestha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Karunaya Ghano Murtaye Bhakti Bilaso Tirthaya Srimate Prabhave Namaha Guru Gauranga Govindo Padapja Bhakti Jivane Sri Brahma Matva Gauriya Acharya Badiye Te Namaha Sri Chaitanya Math The Akara Maharaj Sri Prithvi Maharaj performed his sacrifice in this land in the age of Sattva. Sriman Mahaprabhu has staged this very confidential drama here. It is the house of Acharya of Chandrasekhara, a confidential associate of Sri Gaura Sundar. This is the place where Srila Prabhupada performed his Shatakoti Nam Yagga, 1000 million Sri Nam sacrifice, as a result of which the world is inundated today with the love of Godhead. Srila Prabhupada established here the Akara Maharaj, the main principal mutt, the Chaitanya Mutt, in 1918. Srila Prabhupada himself has given the following definition about his Chaitanya Mutt. Sri Chaitanya Mutt is the only center for all the pure devotees, the followers of Sri Chaitanya. Note that it is a place for a particular sect of the devotees of Sri Chaitanya. It is the only duty of every Swarupa Ashrita Gaudiya devotees to cleansing wherever the preaching of anti-devotional dealings and wrong Siddhantas are going on. That is why the pure devotees sheltered at Sri Chaitanya Mutt are surrendered at Sri Chaitanya Mutt with the sole desire to serve Sri Gaura properly. It is the central home of all the servitors in the Brahma Matva Gauriya Sampradaya. The servitors are happy to take all of us to the inner house of their home, Sri Chaitanya Mutt, the house of Acharya Chandrasekhara and Mashima Srimati Sarva Jaya Devi. In sequence, Srila Prabhupada's Grand Samadhi Temple, Srila Prabhupada's Bhajan Kutir, Gurudev Srila Tirtha Maharaj Samadhi, then the Samadhi Mandir of the past Acharya Gurudev Srila B.K. Shravan Maharaj, Srila Paramananda Vidyaratna Samadhi, then Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj Samadhi, the Giri Govardhan and Sri Radhakunda, Sri Shyamakunda and the main temple, Sri Sri Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari, Sri Radha Vinod Tanjiu and the four Acharyas. When somebody comes to Sri Gauriya Mutt, it is considered that a person has been back home after a very long foreign visit. Therefore, now onwards, we should learn to consider this to be our own house with a proper understanding. Sharanagati is the way. We are therefore very submissive here. Holy appearance Tithi may bless us. Today is a very special Tithi day. Vaishnavas are all merciful. So is the character of the Holy Appearance Day. There are no difference between the appearance of a Vaishnav and that of a Supreme Lord. ঈশ্বর জন্ম তিথি যে হেন পবিত্র বৈষ্ণবেরও সেই মতো তীর্থ চরিত্র শ্রী চৈতন্য ভাগবত May we surrender exclusively to this holiday. This is the appearance day of Srimad Kunja Bihari Pittavushan, the original architect of our eternal shelter, our sweet home, Sri Gauriya Mutt. We pray to this Tithi to bless us by immersing us in the glorification of Sri Kunja Bihari Pittavushan, the Vedic Avarohat Pantha, the method of deduction. If we, as the observers through our mundane spectacles, want to see Sri Guru Vaishnav as object of our observation, then it will never be possible for us to know the real Swarupa of Sri Guru Vaishnav. If Sri Gurudev as an observer confers the darshan capability to the observable disciples, only then it will be possible for us to have the real darshan. Only through Sri Guru the Vaishnav darshan becomes possible. Srila Prabhupada's dearest beyond doubt, for whose association have we observed Srila Prabhupada's earnest desire, whose separation has Srila Prabhupada felt in his heart, so that with deep feeling has exchanged letters with an interested desire to meet his dearest, by whose exchange letters with an interested desire to meet his dearest, by whose serving temper Srila Prabhupada's heart has been overwhelmed with pleasure, whose momentary separation has Srila Prabhupada felt as if an age, whom has declared and glorified again and again as the greatest and dearest servitor of his own bhajana, that we have heard from Srila Prabhupada himself in his speech and also printed in golden scripts in his letters, while hearing the glorification of whose transcendental qualities Srila Prabhupada's cheek has been overflowed with tears, looking whose Somya, beautiful, Snigdha, transcendental form Srila Prabhupada's heart has been filled up with inexpressible bhavya, without whose recommendation Srila Prabhupada would express a bhava that the concert function is not being executed properly. Only he is his dearest servant. What doubt may we have on this fact? Srila Prabhupada's certificate, Guru Prestha. Srila Prabhupada himself has disclosed that his own Prabhupada is the Guru Prestha, the dearest to Sri Guru, while placing him Kunjata as Maha Upadeshak, as his Gauro Ashirvada Patra certificate. This is not the imagination of somebody. This is not being mentioned as an agent of someone. The very certificate by Srila Prabhupada himself is given here. Sri Sri Mayapur Chandra Vijayate Tama. Sri Sri Navadipa Dhama Procharayana Shobhaya. Sri Sri Gauro Ashirvada Patram. পত্রটা পড়বো?
যদি অসুবিধা হয় তার পরবর্তী অংশ পড়ুন।
The very foundation of Sri Gaudiya Math. Sri Gaudiya Math descended through the founder Acharya of the Gaudiya Math, Jagadguru Acharya Bhaskara. Prabhupada Srila Saraswati Thakur is the Vaibhav of Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, the pioneer of the divine flow of pure Rup Anuraga devotion. Srila Prabhupada has declared himself about his Gaudiya Math to preach the topic of pure devotion, the teachings of Lord Sri Chaitanya Dev. The Gaudiya Math has incarnated in this world, the original architect of the Gaudiya Math, the person by whom intense eagerness and by whose function as a right-hand man, Srila Prabhupada began establishing maths in various places and began the mighty preaching of Mahaprabhu's message is Maha Upadeshak Srimad Kunjo Bihari Vidyabhushan Bhagavad Ratna Acharya Trika Srila Bhakti Bilas Tirtha Gosvami Maharaj. An intense request. After initiation, Kunja Bihari became especially infused with the strength of Srila Prabhupada's grace, and in jubilation he expressed a request at the feet of Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada, how many people will be able to have good fortune of coming to this place to hear you your unequaled, lofty, and powerful message of Sri Chaitanya. People from all places of the world came to Calcutta. Therefore, if arrangements are made for you to stay in Calcutta, faithful people of various places will become blessed by hearing your discourses on Hari. When Srila Prabhupada gave his permission to this request, his dearest Srimad Kunji Bihari Vidyabhushan Prabhu rented a house for 50 rupees a month adjacent to the Parishanatha temple at number 1 Ulturanga Junction Road from the month of November 1918 AD. In that month of November, Srila Prabhupada established the Sri Bhakti Vinod Ashana there. Superhuman service attitude. The house was rented, but there was completely no arrangement for money to bear the rent with. The rent was undertaken empty-handed, relying upon the grace of Srila Prabhupada only. The treasury of the asana was empty, resources door to door begging. And even that had not started then, as there were no sannyasis, banprasthis, or brahmacharis to collect the aid for preaching the topics of Godhead. At the time, Srimad Kunjabihari Vidyabhushan worked in the government service for a very small wage. In spite of that, being the leader of householder devotees, bore the entire responsibility for the propagation of Srila Prabhupada's message. On one hand was Srila Prabhupada's unworldly personality, and on the other hand the superhuman attitude of service of Sri Guru formed his dearest one, Srimad Kunjabihari Vidyabhushan. In his heart there was burning comparable enthusiasm for the propagation of discourses on Hari. By the meeting of these two priceless mine of gems was manifested the first foundations of the establishment of Sri Gaudiya Math. The site of the supreme sacrifice of pure glorification of Hari took place. Service to Sri Guru and the preaching of Lord Chaitanya's message is the example over and above that which Srimad Kunjabihari exhibit in accepting a huge debt without even considering if it would be possible to pay it back or not is called incomparable. It would not be an exaggeration at all. It is for this reason that it was seen that Srila Prabhupada has boundless affection towards him. A very confidential letter. When Srila Prabhupada was supervising the excavation works of Sri Radhakunda, a terrible telegram arrived from the Sripad Yashodanandana Bhagavata Bhushana. On the 18th May 1920, without saying anything to anybody, Sripad Kunjabihari Da has suddenly gone to Bombay. It was very painful to Srila Prabhupada. I have no words to express the pain that Srila Prabhupada felt then for the main pillar of his cherished preaching. All the followers of Srila Prabhupada who were there at the time spent the whole night shedding tears while remembering the virtues of Sripad Kunjata. Kunjata left for Barsha, Iraq. The reason for his going to Bombay was that without looking at his own income, he had accepted the charge of various types of expenses for Sri Bhakti Vinod Ashram, and he also used to provide meals for those who had taken shelter of Srila Prabhupada and had come to Kolkata and various other types of help to them. Due to this, he became heavily stricken with a way of debts. With the wage that he used to receive from his work in the post office, it was not possible for these debts to be cleared. But on the other hand, if he did not clear the debts, he would be ascertained by the other to be extremely dishonest, and that would be very harmful for the establishment of righteous and the preaching of the religion. The type of wage which has available by employment in the postal department at Bardia, Iraq,
Basra.
after the First World War would easily be covered that debt. Yet the affectionate Prabhupada was informed he would not give permission to go. For this reason, Sripad Kunjota did not say anything to Srila Prabhupada or anything else, and he set out for Barsa. She set out for Basra. On the above date, when he reached Bombay, he sent a letter. The letter, if the letters which Srila Prabhupada sent to him when he was at Basra, expressing his intense concern and love, are read, it can be truly understood what kind of deep and heartfelt affection a master bears towards his earnest servant. For words from such a letter are given here. We will meet again. I have choose you as one of the three trustees of Sri Chaitanya Math. Following my will, you execute that function and continue Sri Hari Seva. You love me very intensely. Therefore, even if you not possible in this life, irrespective of which condition do I stay, you will meet me and I will see you. Lost my enthusiasm. From the very day you left, I have lost all pleasure in life and lost all the enthusiasm for preaching. Most of the time I shed tears. May Sri Parshobhanavi Devi, Srimati Radharani bless you. Your virtuous, complete detachment from the mundane objects and particularly your great love towards me. This humble self are the objects of my eternal eternal remembrance. May I become a Tyagi like you. If in any future birth I could become such a abnegated Tyagi like you are, if I would be assured of the favor of Sri Krishna, the work that I started should be carried out with all zeal by you all. Through these service activities to Radha Govinda, their grace will be received. My eternal associate looked forward me. যেদিন তোমারও ভাবে আমারও এ প্রাণ যাবে সেই দিন দিও প্রসাদ
Padasraya.
সেদিন দিও পদশ্রায় শ্রীমতী Vishokanu Nandini addresses by Nayanamani Manjari and wants to keep her always with her. But due to sometimes she is unable to stay with her. But the most beautiful, fascinating Bimala Manjari, the very associate of Nayana Manjari, being deprived of the association of Sri Binodini, lives away with the pretension of dissociating herself with Nayanamani Manjari. So true to the self, it is the duty of Bimala Manjari to look forward so that Nayanamani Manjari may engage herself in the loving service of Srila Parshobhanavi Devi. Srila Prabhupada's own speech in his Vyasa Puja. In the grand meetings, assemblies like Sri Dham, Procharika Assembly, etc., Srila Prabhupada, the president of those assemblies, would order his other disciples to glorify his Sneha Vigraha, affectionate idol, Sri Kunja Bihari. Also, Srila Prabhupada himself would speak about his dearest. When Srila Prabhupada himself stated about Srila Kunja Bihari Vidyabhushan Prabhu in his reply speech in the 18th Srila Vyasa Puja,
58th.
Sneha Vigraha Kunja Bihari has invited the world. Affectionately Vidyabhushan, he who has made me such a timid person, averse to Hari, directed towards Sri Vishwa Vaishnava Raj Sabha, who has given every chance to the current of outwardly thought, wrapped Calcatan and the resident of capital by making their thought process based on the vanity of the mundane enjoyment and the renunciation oriented towards preaching of the teachings of Sri Gaurasundar, aiming at the service of Sri Gandharvika Giridhari, whose peerless serving temper is the scarce in the mortal world. Kunja Bihari, very second self of my Sri Gurudev, who on the this appearance day of my Srila Gurupada Padma appearance appeared as his another Swarup, but later did not give me a chance to serve him, but took all the opportunities and who bestowed me with the opportunity by every means to implement the blessings of my Srila Gurudev. May your serving attitude to Krishna enhance. Kunja Bihari, Kunja, his branch sub branch. It is due to the dwelling in his Kunja hermitage only, the Gaudiya Math Sevaka Sampradaya, all servitors have got the opportunity to serve Gandharvika Giridhari Dharma, along with Dhamma. It is his effort, the subject of this year's main target. It appeared for the people driven by the three modes of natures as the form of the worshipable deity by the name of Gaudiya Math Pradarshini. Before that Gaudiya Pradarshini, one who have invoked its seat in Sri Chaitanya Math Pradarshini later joining the Gaudiya Math at the ensuing time gave me an opportunity of Chinmoyi discussion in Paramarthika spiritual assembly. Being induced by the tournament of Shobana Kirtan, the Kunja, that Vishwa Vaishnav Rajasabha, the descendant form of the true affection incarnate, is going to establish. In the Kunja itself, Kunja Bihari will reveal the Sampor, Sampalpo, Alpodrum expressed in Tama Liva Poriporto Idamava Yache, along with Sri Gaudapada Giridhari, along with Sri Gandharvika Giridhari referred in the verse Divyat Prindaranya Kalpatrum. I will consider myself fulfilled if I could become a dog of the dharma of the icon affectionate Kunja Bihari. May you all live under Kunja Bihari's guidance, whose name, form, qualities, confidential associates, and the pastimes have set me in the position where the face in the association with Ramachandra, as stated by Narottam Das, has become justified, whose efforts have led me understand the motive of the love Sri Gaura Gadadhara. My prayerful blessings may his devoted followers live by every means under the affectionate disposition of his Kunja Bihari comfort home. Never blaspheme my Sneha Vigraha Kunja Bihari. Nobody should blaspheme the devotees of Bhagwan with worldly reasoning. Only love for Ishwar is the way to shout by Gaur Sundara. Sri Gaur Sundar is the shelter of Mahabhagavad personalities and he is the only Vishaya, the predominating moiety of the Ashraya. Predominated moiety, Sri Mahabhagavad, on achieving this realization, Achinta Vedaved Bhakti Siddhanta will string together my affectionate incarnations with my previous Guru Varga in a single thread. It is the Brahma Sutra harmonizing the contradictory mantras of Shruti appeared in the world, whose purports are Srimad Bhagavat and the eternally manifested deity, due in the form of Gaudiya Bhashya Arka, the transcendental sound deity Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat and the Nectarian postscript of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. This is the fulfillment words of Nayanananda and the primary among of five poles of Bhakti. Now Sankirtan, this is Bhagavad Pantha. This itself is the undiluted worship of eternally manifested Chinmay Vigraha. This is the only Vaishnav Seva. This itself is the Achinta Vedavet Siddhanta.
আজ তাঁর শুভ অভিব্যক্তিতে শ্রীল ভক্তি বিলাস তীর্থ মহারাজের শ্রীচরণে প্রণাম জানাই। সপাশ শ্রীল প্রভুপাদ, সপাশ শ্রীল তীর্থ মহারাজ, সপাশ শ্রীল গুরু মহারাজ, সকলের চরণে ধন্যবাদ। আপনাদের চরণে ধন্যবাদ।